I've got a fun story on what is a really boring topic otherwise. So I figured a story would be a little bit better way to talk about it. And this is actually one of the things that I feel like I do very well with our business here and managing this team. So this is talking about systems and processes, and I'll explain how the story loops in before you skip to the next video on something that's more exciting. But this is something that's allowed us to scale and help over 400 families in less than 4 years in a really competitive market here in Southern California. So what I'm going to talk about is how you can implement systems and processes to where you can go out and enjoy a weekend like I did last weekend. So here's the story. This is the fun part. Is I had a past client actually invite me over to their house that they just moved from out of the area, and they were so happy. They're loving the area, loving all the neighbors, and they were having a birthday party for their daughter. So we were at their house, we were hanging out, enjoying the view, enjoying the house and good company and all of that. And when I got home the next day and I started working, this was Sunday, I get on my laptop and I'm working away, and I look at a couple of different messages, and I'll make sure they're up on the screen here. But we use Slack for our internal communication. So Slack is like a group chat when you have way too many people. So with 35 people on our team, we can't just use group chat, so we use Slack. And we have a couple of processes in place with Slack, for example. So one of them is if you have a question, you can go into a Slack channel and you can say, hey, I've got this question, can anybody answer it? So we had an agent that was looking to do something in our new system. She was doing an open house and she wanted an open house form. I'll go ahead and put a picture of the open house form right up here so you can see what that looks like, as opposed to scratching a name down on a piece of paper or writing it down on a sticky note that you'll probably never see again. We have this open house form that takes either the client can type in their own information, the agent can type in their information, and what it does is it sends that information directly into that agent's CRM, sets up a search for that client on the house on the area that they're looking in based on the house that they registered for the open house. It's really cool. We have a lot of remarketing that happens afterwards when that happens as well too. Well, here's the cool part. So our agent goes into the Got a Question Slack channel and says, hey, I don't know how to make this. We just switched to a new system recently, so it's kind of new. And almost, I think within an hour or two, she got an answer from another agent on the team that said, hey, go over to University, chapter 6 or whatever it was. There's the video on how to do that. Right away, the other agent says, hey, thank you so much. I needed that so I can get out to my open house. Really appreciate it. And all the time, I'm at a birthday party and able to enjoy that, not sitting on my phone the whole entire time, which I know as a real estate agent yourself is something we catch ourselves doing all the time. So this is two really interesting processes that I put in place that allowed me to actually enjoy my weekend as opposed to maybe trying to put out a fire at a time where I'm out enjoying with my family. So here's a couple of processes. Number one, first and foremost, is Slack for communication. Is one, we have a team of people who absolutely help each other all the time. People post questions in there, and usually before I can even get to the question, somebody else is jumping in with an answer that sometimes is even better than the answer that I would have given. Not to mention with this process, and this isn't a billboard for Slack, this is just one of the many reasons why we use it. Now anytime someone has that same question, they can go up to the top in the search bar and type in the question, and they're gonna see this response. So they're gonna have the answer before they even need to ask the question in the first place. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we've answered a lot of different questions that agents have put in there. So that's one process that's been super, super helpful, super beneficial. It gets a lot of the got-a-minute questions off of my back, and it also lets our other agents be really helpful to their teammates. Now here's the second process, is an online university. Now this is something, if you're a team leader, this is something that you've probably heard about, you probably know you should do it, and you probably don't want to do it, because I can tell you from experience, it's not a whole heck of a lot of fun. Well, just recently, I went through and redid about 75% of it, and it took me 2 days. Now, the first time I made the university, I procrastinated about 6 months to actually do it, and then I made it, and then about 6 months later, I had to do it again, and it took me 2 weeks, and then about 6 months later, I had to do it again because stuff changes, contracts change, processes change, you just have to update this stuff. But at the end of the day, it took me 2 days to redo 75% of our university, which has a tremendous amount of information for our agents, not only their onboarding onto our team to find out how we do business, how our technology works, and just what it's about to be on our team, but our current agents can actually go back to that, they can reference it, and take advantage of knowledge that's already there and refresh themselves on something that they might have forgot how to do. So I've got 2 questions. One, for team leaders, What do you have in place for the got-a-minute questions? What kind of a process do you have in place? And for solo agents or team agents, I'm curious, what is a process that you've put in place that's helped level up your business? Throw it in the comments, shoot me a reply. I'd love to see what these different answers are. I know processes are not something that's fun or sexy or anything like that at all, but it is something that's so crucial to running a successful business. Whether you're a team leader or an agent on a team or a solo agent, probably most important there, is you really got to make sure you have something done where if you're going to do something over and over and over again, you have a process to it where you're doing it the same every single time, as opposed to trying to recreate the wheel. So again, my name is Christian Stubbs, and I am always here to give updates on what we're doing in the business that's working. Processes, like I said, they're not fun, but this is something that's made a tremendous difference in our business, and frankly, this particular example in my life. So I'm curious, what are your examples? And I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you've liked and subscribed to the channel.